Hi, welcome back. We will be discussing about the differences between streaming load and batch load in this discussion. So, first of all, going by an example, as you can see over here, this is an entertainment park having different type of rides that are equipped with thousands of sensors that are emitting signals, that are emitting data that is being collected by a messaging service like Google PubSub that relays that data onto a data processing framework, Cloud Data Flow, which is being further sending this data after processing onto a monitoring system. Now, this monitoring system is detecting failures into, you know, what kind of failures based on the signal, based on the sensor data that is coming, right? Some sophistical model has been written to detect the outliers or to detect the failures in the components of a ride. So in a way, the company is doing predictive maintenance. That is, if there are chances of a system, ride system getting failed, the company is collecting data through the sensor signals and in advance would be doing the maintenance to a particular part that is sending the failure signals, right? So in order to save the cost, business, a lot of companies are doing this. So this is an example of a real-time data getting generated from sensors and being fed to the target systems. So this is what we call as streaming data, right? It is continuously getting generated and is being fed to the downstream system as soon as it is getting generated, right? And it's a continuous generation of signals that is happening from the sensors, and there are a lot of sensors, right, that are involved, and each emitting signal, right? And on the other hand, when we talk about batch load, we are not talking about a continuous generation of data, right? And continuous feed of the data, right? Rather, we are talking about the data that will be fed to a downstream system at a particular interval, at a particular frequency, and the number of sources, tables, and files would be lesser compared to the sensors that were there in the real time streaming systems. And then low latency is not a requirement in this kind of scenario because data is being fed at a particular frequency, right? So there is no requirement or no focus on the low latency part, right? So this is an example of batch data, right? So examples of taking data from tables like relational tables, if there is a third party Oracle system and we need to bring that data onto Google Cloud platform, then this is an example of batch load that will be happening. Let's say we have a target system in the form of Google Cloud Storage bucket, and in a bucket there is a folder and a file that we need to dump as an extract from a table. So this will happen typically through a load happening, pulling all the data, all the snapshot of the data and feed that onto a file, right, at a fixed frequency, right? This is an example of batch load. So I hope this is clear. And this is important from the perspective of the discussions that we'll be having in the coming sessions. We should be aware of like what are the kind of data that gets generated out of systems, right? Thank you guys.